In the wild, wild west, when a poker player was caught cheating, it was a capital offense, with the punishment quickly dispensed right across the card table. But today, if you're caught cheating in the popular and lucrative world of internet poker, you may get away scot-free. At least that seems to be what's happening in the biggest scandal in the history of online gambling. A small group of people managed to cheat players out of more than $20 million, and it would have gone undetected if it hadn't been for the players themselves, who used the internet to root out the corruption. As a joint investigation by 60 Minutes and the Washington Post reveals, it raises new questions about the integrity and security of the shadowy and highly profitable business that operates outside U.S. law.
Moneymaker puts his name amongst the greatest players in the game.
If you had to pick the moment that the poker boom began, it was probably the day an unknown accountant named Chris Moneymaker won $2.5 million at the 2003 World Series of Poker. Suddenly, every amateur with a hat, sunglasses, and a stack of chips saw themselves as the next big moneymaker. Nearly 7,000 people competed in this year's tournament for $180 million in prize money, but the fever has spread far beyond Las Vegas.
It is the richest sporting competition in the world, and yet all of this pales in comparison to the 500,000 people who are playing on the internet right now in the unregulated world of online poker.
As we learned in this tutorial, all you have to do to play is log on to the World Wide Web, click your way onto an online gambling site, open an account with your credit card, choose your game, and pull up a seat at a virtual table.
So like that, these people could be playing from anywhere in the world. They could be here in the United States, they could be in India, they could be in South Africa.
We should tell you that this $18 billion industry is illegal in the U.S., but the ban is almost impossible to enforce, since the internet sites and the computers that randomly deal the cards and keep track of the bets are located offshore, beyond the jurisdiction of U.S. law enforcement. And unlike land-based casinos, there is almost no official regulation, enforcement, or supervision. But it hasn't stopped thousands of mostly young men from making this their livelihood. Todd Wittelis, a former computer scientist turned poker pro, says you no longer have to go to Vegas to find a high-stakes game.
Here you can do it from your own living room. You don't have to get dressed. You don't have to do anything. You just it's right there on your computer.
Wittelis says online poker is much different, faster, more aggressive, and less personal.
You're not looking at somebody sitting across the table, you're just playing the cards that tumble out of the computer.
Not only are you not looking at your opponents, you're not looking at the cards being dealt, you're not looking at who's dealing them to you. So you don't know if the whole thing is legitimate. Even if all the players sitting with you are just as legitimate as you are, maybe the whole game isn't.
And as Wittelis found out, it wasn't, at least on a popular internet site called Absolute Poker. His suspicions were first aroused in a high-stakes game of Texas Hold'em against what he thought was an incompetent and lucky amateur using the screen name Gray Cat.
This Gray Cat person was new, and at first he seemed like a live one. He seemed terrible. He seemed to play crazy. It seemed like he was giving his money away, except the only thing was he wasn't losing. He was playing in a style that was sure to lose, but he was killing the game day after day.
While Wittelis was losing $15,000 to the apparent novice, other high-stakes players began to notice improbable and endless winning streaks on Absolute Poker's sister site, Ultimate Bet. David Paredes, a Harvard grad who's made enough money playing poker to pay off his law school loan and live in an expensive New York apartment, got fleeced by a player called Neo Neo.
How much did you lose?
I'm probably down somewhere in the range of 70,000 to that particular player.
Anybody lose more than you?
Yes, there were a number of players who lost more than me, in the range of 250,000, 90,000, 70,000, 210,000.
Serge Ravitch, another lawyer-turned-poker pro, began using a software program called Poker Tracker to review thousands of old hands.
What I saw did not make any sense. This account was simply winning too much money for the type of game that he was playing, and he was doing it by never having the worst hand. When the other person was bluffing, he would always go all in. When the other person had some kind of made hand, he would always fold.
It was like he knew what everybody's cards were.
Exactly.
If you can see everybody's cards in poker, you could be the worst poker player in the world up against the best player in the world, and you're going to beat him just about every time.
Soon the internet poker forums, chat rooms, and blogs were a-Twitter with fresh reports about suspect players. And when Absolute Poker and Ultimate Bet failed to respond to complaints, the online poker community undertook its own investigation.
We knew for sure there was cheating going on. We just didn't know who was responsible yet.
The most likely explanation seemed to be that someone had gotten access